Hi there, and welcome to this week's edition of the Gersnet Weekly Podcast, the independent Rangers podcast, which is made by the fans for the fans, which is absolutely free. It is episode 66 of the Gersnet Weekly Podcast, and I am your host, Colin Armstrong. I'm here this week to discuss the Livi game today. We'll have a wee look at Porto and a couple of other things as well. We'll look at the ticket prices for the League Cup final and a couple of other wee things as well. As I said, it's episode 66 of the pod. We would encourage you to subscribe and share on social media and all that. It's available live at the moment, but it'll be available to download and stream on Acast, iTunes, YouTube, Castbox, Stitcher, and Spotify from tomorrow. So if you're joining in just now, great, welcome. If you're not, if you if you want to listen to it later, you can via those platforms. Excuse me. So joining me tonight, we've got two stalwarts of the pod. We've got Ross Bennett. How are you, Ross?
I am very well, thanks, Colin. It's nice to be on as a guest and not have to worry about planning and agendas. And I'm half cut.
Was that not the usual?
Usually no half.
Aye. Well, I'm not supposed to be on tonight. I'm actually covering for David Wren. I think he is also half cut. I might be speculating here, but I don't think it's coincidence that Rangers were playing Livingston the day, and then right after it, Liverpool were playing Man City. So call me suspicious, but I think David had plans today. So I'm stepping in for David, and he's going to cover my shift next week. Also joining us tonight is Christine Somerville. How are you, Christine? It's been a while.
It has been a while. In fact, I'm due on next week as well. I don't know whether that's still going to happen. But it's like they say about buses, isn't it? You know,
that's it. Aye.
A while and then two come along at the same time. But no, I'm very well, thank you, and I am stone cold sober.
For a change.
Hey. No, I've actually got a bottle of red wine sitting in my kitchen. Somebody bought it for me for selling their house.
All right.
They keep doing this. They keep buying me red wine, and I don't like red wine. I only like white. So, if any of you are listening, make it white the next time.
Is that what are you an estate agent now, Christine? Is this your gig? Selling houses?
Yes.
All right. I didn't know that. I've just bought a new house. Why didn't you tell me that? You could have got me a good deal.
I work for Purple Bricks.
Do you?
Yes.
That's
well,
interesting.
I don't work for them. I'm self-employed, but yeah, that's who I.
There you go. I didn't know that. I should ask more questions. Maybe if I asked these things, I would know. Anyway, right, let's get on to it. I thought we would, as I said, we'd look at the Livingston game today. A really good win today at a place that is sort of traditionally tricky for Rangers. Obviously, Celtic were beaten there a couple of weeks ago, so we look at that. Brilliant night on Thursday night against Porto. We'll definitely cover that. And there was a couple of other wee things that sort of caught my eye. There's the ticket prices for the League Cup final. I've seen a lot of supporters complaining about that. And also, Stevie G has been linked with Arsenal, so we'll have a wee discussion about that. So straight into it, I'll come to you first, Ross. I mean, the game today at the most ridiculously named stadium in the UK, if not Europe, the Tony Macaroni Arena. As I said, it always looked like it was going to be a tricky game. How did you feel when you saw the starting 11? When I saw no Stephen Davis, I must admit, I got a wee bit panicky. Aribo was in for him. Arfield came in for Barker, which I wasn't too surprised about. But no Davis, I was a wee bit worried about that. How did you feel when you saw the starting 11 today?
Do you know, I wasn't surprised that Davis dropped out. He's at that kind of age now, approaching that part of the career where he needs to be managed properly, needs to be used properly. And it's the kind of game where we're going to need a wee spark of creativity. And so I wasn't too surprised to see Joe Aribo come back in. I don't think Joe Aribo's done too badly over the course of his career at Rangers so far. I know that he's not lived up to perhaps some of the loftier expectations that some of us had, but I was quite happy to see him come back in. I think he needs a settled run of games. I thought he started well enough, and then maybe after the Old Firm game, his confidence took a wee knock, and he kind of found himself in and out of the side a wee bit. But I like him as a player, and I was happy to see him come back in. It was a kind of game where we shouldn't really have needed Steve Davis. So I was happy to see him get a wee rest. The other change, the Arfield for Barker change, was one that I was perhaps less enthused about. I'm not sure Scott Arfield is delivering as much this season as he has done, say, last season. I wasn't surprised to see Brandon Barker drop out, but I thought it might have been the kind of game that would let Greg Stewart get a little run around. So I was it wasn't too much of a surprise, the starting 11, but look, it got the job done.
It did indeed, yeah. I mean, the performances, I put it out in social media today that we've had a good 7 days. Obviously last week we qualified for the League Cup final, great result on Thursday night against Porto, and now today. So it feels to me like Rangers are in a really, really good place at the moment. Christine, coming to you, I mean, in terms of the starting 11, obviously there's certain players like obviously McGregor, Goldson, Tav, Morelos, Ryan Jack. You've got those core players that are always in there. The centre half thing has been an issue. Katic kind of got a run, and then he was out the team. Sorry, Hollander came in. Munson got a game. But the last few weeks, I think Hollander has started to really look the part. And today was quite significant, I thought, because the last time he was there, he got a bit of a hard time for Lyndon Dykes. Today, I thought he looked very, very composed, and I thought him and Goldson strolled through the game. What about yourself? Do you think those two are now pretty much our first starters in that position?
Well, I think it's probably Stevie G's preferred centre back pairing. I know Connor Goldson has been very good the last 2 games, so there's no point in trying to slag him off. I just feel as if he's the one that seems to be Stevie G's constant. And the others, I think, in recent weeks, Hellender's obviously got the nods, so it may well be that Stevie G feels that he really needs to keep the partnership going and not interfere too much with his team selections in the back four. I mean, we've got Katic and Edmiston, who I completely trust, and I think if we get an injury to one of the main two, I would be quite comfortable with either of them coming in to replace them. But I think maybe just having the settled back four is better for the team all round, and consistency, just getting to know each other so well. I think that makes a big difference. So yeah, I never really felt today as if Livingston were any threat whatsoever. I never felt as if, they're going to score here, or they're getting a lot of the ball. It's only a matter of time. Never felt that either on Thursday night or today. Feel quite confident with the defence.
Ross, I mean that's an interesting point. There is a more settled feeling about the back four at the moment, and I think it was Gerrard himself that said in the Porto game over in Portugal that he felt that was the night that Hollander had kind of arrived. I still have concerns about his pace. I mean, there's more than once, you've seen him sort of struggle to get to the ball when he's got 5 or 6 yards on someone, and I still think he might get caught out once or twice on that front. But positionally, he seems fairly sound. He looks like where he knows where to be to cover up for that lack of pace. So, does it feel like this is now that this back four is our best back four?
Well, in terms of the fullbacks, certainly. Tav's had his criticisms over the past 6 to 8 weeks, but I mean, I think the fullbacks are the best fullbacks that we've got at the club, and I'm delighted to be able to say that about Borna Barisic, who's really turned the corner since the summer. But the centre half, it's an interesting question that obviously it comes up on this show week after week after week. As Christian alludes to, we've all kind of speculated around Connor Goldson being undroppable in the eyes of Steven Gerrard, but I could not make an argument for either Goldson or Hollander to be dropped at the moment. Hollander against Porto out in Portugal was phenomenal. He's starting to seem like the £4.5 million continental centre half that we obviously expected. He started a little bit slow. He looked a little bit rusty. but it seems like he's settled in now. And I have to have some sympathy for Katic and Edmondson. Edmondson, I suppose, probably was, he knew what he was signing up for. He knew he was coming in to be fourth choice, and this was more a move for his development. Katic has done absolutely nothing wrong. Never made a mistake. I can't remember him really costing us a goal. I think he's strong. I think he's, bags and bags of potential. At the end of the day, he's still young. I'm sure he's still turning out for the Croatian under-21 side. So as long as his attitude is right, as long as his mentality is right, and that he's not getting frustrated and open to having his head turned and looking elsewhere, I think where we are right now, I think that is the most settled back four and the strongest back four that we have at the disposal.
Christine, you said there earlier on that you didn't feel, under pressure today. You didn't feel worried that we were going to concede a goal at any point, and that probably comes from the back four being so settled, and that it feels like the first time it's been like that since Gerrard's arrived. However, see, after about 25 minutes or so today, I felt we had a lot of possession without actually threatening as such. Was there any point in the game that you thought, okay, we're not going to concede, but are we actually going to score here?
I'm always optimistic that we're going to score, so it was a wee bit frustrating at times, I think, but when you think back, it was the first half hour. I'm trying to remember the minute we scored. I can't remember. Can you remember, Colin, what minute it was we scored? I would say up till we scored. There's always that fear that, is it going to be one of these days? But no, I'm always optimistic we'll score, especially with Morelos in the park.
I can't quite remember how long it was in that we scored, Christine, but I think it was, it was after sort of 25 minutes anyway. I always find Livingston a bit of a stuffy outfit. They're always quite physical. You've obviously got the issue with the park as well, and I thought we started really sharp, but I'd started to worry a wee bit that we'd had a lot of possession and really weren't getting in behind them enough. On that though, Ross, Morelos had a chance. He got put through. I think he had a wee shove on the defender. Maybe should have been a foul. But he seemed to wait for ages before he tried to get his shot away, and then the defender came in and cleared it. Now, one, given the referee never gave the foul against Morelos, do you think that was a penalty? I thought it was a fair challenge, but I've seen people on social media saying from different angles it looks like it is actually a penalty.
No, for me, watching it real time, I've not seen the photos on social media suggesting that there were other angles or whatever. But from what I've seen watching it on the telly, no, I don't think it was a penalty. I think it looked to me like the defender come across really quickly and got his foot and got a little toe to the ball first. So I don't have any complaints about the fact that a penalty wasn't given. If that had gone against me and against my team, I'd have been absolutely furious.
I bet you were shouting for it though.
Well,
because I'll tell you right here now, my arse was off that couch. It wasn't until I saw the replay I was like, okay, fair enough.
But I mean, it's that in a way that's kind of classic Morelos, isn't it? That the ball comes to him, and he had a lot of time to think about it, and that's sometimes when we see Morelos makes the wrong decision or struggles a bit, is when he has time to think about it. He's such a natural striker, such an instinctive finisher, that he's better when he's under pressure and he doesn't really have space on the ball to think about what to do. So I wasn't too surprised actually to see that chance go squandered, because we've seen it before from him, and then it's kind of the total opposite to what he does in the second half, when there's no clear-cut chance, there's no gaping opportunity, and he still manages to tuck the ball away. So no, it wasn't a penalty in my opinion, but I wasn't too surprised to see the fact that we didn't score there.
Christine, the goal came, some good stuff for Scotty Arfield, Ross's favourite in the middle of the park. A great ball through, I thought, to Aribo. One touch finish, left foot, top corner, absolute. It was a really good finish, I thought, a good goal. But in terms of Aribo, I thought he started the season really well. I think the Celtic game, I think Ross mentioned it earlier on, after the Celtic game, I thought he was poor in that game, and he's kind of flattered to deceive a wee bit since then. But again, I think there's been signs similar to Hollander, signs over the last 2, 3, 4 games that he's starting to rediscover that sort of early season form. What about yourself? How do you feel about Aribo's contribution at the moment?
Well, I would agree with you that he had a nightmare against Celtic. He just didn't, to me, he didn't look up for the physical challenge at all. And I just don't think he's that type of player that's going to put in big tackles here and there. But I mean, bear in mind he got that horrendous head injury the last time out at Livingston, and he's really just coming back from that. So yeah, I think he's looked pretty good the last few times he's played, and I think he's one of these ones that, I mean, I think in terms of midfield, there's probably going to be Davis and Jack are the kind of key ones, and Ariba's one of those ones that can just slot in, same as Kamara. So we've got a few options.
Yeah, I was expecting a wee bit more from him, I must admit. I mean, the early games, especially some of the European games, I thought he looked like a proper signing. I thought we've got ourselves an absolute gem of a player here. The Celtic game, I don't know if I totally blame Aribo for it. I think Stevie G got the lineup all wrong, and I think that didn't help in terms of his performance that day. But since then, I don't know if his confidence took a knock. I don't know what it was, but he's just not been performing at that sort of level he was at the start of the season. But I'm starting to see it again. You're right, he was out injured and it was a bad one. But I think we're starting to see that he's, that sort of form we're getting from him early in the season starting to come back. And in the middle of the park, that's good because it increases the competition for places. Guys know if they're not performing, they're out of the team, and it keeps everyone on their toes. On Scotty Arfield, Ross, I know he's your favourite.
Like last season he genuinely was one of my favourites, and I thought, you missed him when he's out the team. This year, I don't know what's happened to him. I really don't.
Well, the point I'm going to make is, I mean, he put the initial ball through to Morelos. Morelos kind of dwelled on it, and it kind of ricocheted back to Arfield. But he was quite quick, he just like one touch and put it through. And I agree with you. I don't think he's at the levels he was at last season, especially the second half of last season. But is that not what Arfield's really good at? He's a very simple footballer. He always does the simple thing, the easy thing, the most obvious thing. And to me, that was, I think someone else might have taken a touch. Someone like Kent in that position, I think, would have taken a touch or maybe tried to run into the defender. Arfield just gets the ball, sees it at Aribo's in a far better position. One touch, pass through, goal.
I mean, are you asking me to praise an attacking midfielder for playing a through ball successfully? It's his job.
I'm asking you to appreciate that he does the simple things well.
He does the simple things well sometimes. He gives the ball away a lot, like a needless amount of times that he'll kind of back himself into a corner and give the ball away. And it's like I don't know what to say about him. I think we've got better options in the centre of the park now. I really, really do. Games like today, I would much rather see a Brandon Barker or a Greg Stewart come on and try and show a bit of flair, show a bit of pace, because that's something he really lacks, is pace. And I don't know what role Scott Arfield plays in that squad anymore, because he's not there as the kind of wise old head, experienced centre midfielder, because Steve Davis does that role. He's not there as the driving creative force that runs with the ball and gets the team up the park, because we've got pacey wingers that will do that. He's certainly not a Joe Aribo or a Glenn Kamara who can, stick the ball to their foot with glue and dance through 8 opposition players, because the ball will ping off his shin like a bouncy ball. So I'm not quite sure what use. I don't mean for it to sound as harsh as it does, but it sounds awful. I'm not sure what his place is in the squad anymore.
That is harsh. I think all this is related to the fact that Daniel Candias left. I think you're just bitter about that. I think that's all it is. But hey, we can live with that.
Candias has been tweeting about Rangers again. He's, he misses us. he might be coming back.
We'll see. Anyway, Christine, we'll put this to one side. 1-0 at half time. Come out the second half. Morelos' goal, the second goal, very, very cheeky finish, I thought. Now, I've seen some suggestions that he was maybe offside, but I think it looked like one of those you give the benefit of the doubt to the striker. He certainly wasn't yards offside, as Stephen Thompson proclaimed on Sports Scene earlier on this evening. I don't know what he was thinking about there, but some finish by him again, something from nothing, really.
Yeah, it was just. I think his foot might have been offside because it was sort of, it was as if he was kicking the ball almost without the ball being there. But so technically maybe he was, but the finish was just out of this world, really. It was just like, and you just knew that he was going to score. It was just, it's just one of these types that he loves to score from that kind of angle.
I've got to be honest with you, but when he cut inside, I didn't expect him to shoot. I was really surprised he scored. I didn't see it coming at all, I must admit.
No, well, I did. I really thought he was going to have a go, but I thought he was sort of not favourite to, get the ball in the net. But there you are, he did, and it was good because it was the second goal, and although I usually find myself not completely comfortable until we're 3 goals ahead, I just felt that because of Livingston's lack of really doing much in our half, then I thought, well, that's the points secured, and I'd like us to have, it would have been nice to score another couple and go top of the league, but we'll just content ourselves for now. It's still early days.
Yeah, I think the fact, I think a lot of people view today as a potential banana skin. So I think the fact that we've come out with 3 points and a decent performance, I think we take that. But I know what you mean. There was one point in the game we were only a goal behind, and if they'd got one more goal, and then Celtic went 2-0 up, and then we kind of thought it was going to be beyond us to get top of the league today. But the point that you've just made, Christine, leads us on to my next point, Ross, which is the game management. As Christine said there, when we went 2-0 up, it felt like we're fine now. You know what I mean? And as Christine said, sometimes, especially away from home, you don't always feel like that. And there has been examples of some poor game management this season, especially over in Young Boys. I thought we shot ourselves in the foot over there. But today, felt really confident. There's a wee bit of that on Thursday night as well, because when we went 2-0 up, I thought we managed the game well after that as well. Is this a side of Steven Gerrard's team that's improving the game management? Once we're getting in front, we're staying in front.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a lesson that Gerrard has learned the hard way. Young Boys is a prime example. I slightly disagree with you about Thursday. I still thought on Thursday there were things that we could have done better when we were getting to the end of the game. I remember that there was a free kick that we had near the corner flag on about 89 minutes, and for some reason we decided to put that in the box and brought 2 centre halves forward for it. Today, I wonder, it was never uncomfortable today, and today was probably as good as we could have hoped it would be. We're never going to go to the Tony Macaroni and win 6 or 7-0. It's not that kind of place. And you've seen, obviously, this season Celtic slipping up there. So it is a banana skin. It's a difficult place to go. We found that out the hard way again last season. So I wonder if, we weren't threatened today. So it felt like good game management. Maybe it was to do with the standards of opposition. They never really came and had to go. Lyndon Dykes, who has caused trouble for plenty of sides this season, I thought was kind of muted and a bit quieter than usual. I think he's just come back from injury, so maybe he wasn't fully fit or mentally sharp or whatever. So it was good game management, but we were never threatened throughout the game. So I wouldn't go overboard and say that we've solved this problem, because I'm still kind of hurting from how poor we were in the last 10 minutes against Young Boys.
That was poor that night. it's undeniable. And when you look at that group now, we're going to come on to the Porto game in the Europa League campaign shortly, but when you look at that group, you kind of think, the very least we should have come out with that game as a draw. You know what I mean? It would be a point better off than sitting top of the group at the moment. So it was a costly error in terms of the poor game management that night. But I do think it's something that's improving. I must admit, I do think Gerrard. There seems to me this season, I wasn't convinced last season that any time we took any bumps, we were learning from them. I don't know if that's the case this season. I'm seeing Rangers improving almost with every game. And as I said earlier, I think over the last week, 2-3 weeks or so, it feels like we're in a really, really good place at the moment. Christine, man of the match today for me, I thought Glenn Kamara had a really, really good game. And a bit like Aribo, when he signed last season, we thought we'd all, got this wonder boy for 50 grand, an absolute steal for Dundee. This season, again, early on, I thought, he looks a wee bit off it, and just wasn't it that same level of performance that he gave us last season. But again, I think over the last 3 or 4 games that he's played, you're starting to see that form coming back again. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think you've got it absolutely spot on there, Colin. I was a wee bit like you. I mean, at the end of last season, particularly, well, he came in January, didn't he? And he was really good, and I was really impressed with him. This season, he's been played a bit more sparingly, and I think at the beginning of the season, he just didn't live up to what he had done in previous seasons. Towards the end of last season, but the last few matches, yeah, I think he's really. I wouldn't argue over the man in the match today. In fact, it's probably quite difficult to pick a man in the match, because I think everybody played reasonably well without anybody being really, really outstanding. But I think Kamara's made it difficult for Stevie G to drop him now.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, it was a good team performance today. As you say, it's maybe unfair just picking one out, but I think maybe Kamara stood out for me because he has struggled a wee bit this season. And as I said, over the last 3 or 4 games, I've started to see he's maybe coming back to that sort of form he was displaying when he first signed for the club, which is good to see, because again, going back to the point, it increases competition for places and all that kind of stuff. Guys, about to wrap up the Livy stuff here. I'll come to the two of you on this. I'll come to you first, Ross. Stevie G's 50th game today. So his record is played 50, won 33, drawn 10, lost 7, with a win percentage rate of 66%, which is quite ironic given this is episode 66 of the Gersnet weekly podcast. We plug there. And I mean, his win percentage, I mean, the majority of those losses will have been last season. I mean, he's only had 1 loss this season. So his win percentage for this season will be even more impressive than that. Again, how do you view Gerrard's overall performance for Rangers? And do you think this season you're seeing a marked improvement compared to last season?
Undoubtedly. The thing about Gerrard is that he has a consummate professionalism, and everything he does is incredibly professional and incredibly well thought out. And actually, that's probably most borne out in the improvement that he's made over the summer, and that you can tell that this guy has really, really learned lessons from last season. You can see that he's sat down, he's thought about what worked and what didn't work last season, and he's made improvements over the summer. He's targeted his recruitment properly. He sets the team up with varying styles, various formations depending on the game that we're facing. Like you say, the game management is improving. So I think he's applying a kind of academic approach to the game, in my opinion, and he's showing that he's learning lessons. He's shown professionalism, and his standards are second to none. It's impeccable, and he really is a man who's befitting the status of Glasgow Rangers manager. And considering some of the characters we've had in that position over the past 5 to 10 years, it's a real joy to see him there. Yeah,
I'd agree. Ian Duff would pull you up on referring to Rangers as Glasgow Rangers, by the way. He was very unhappy about that through the week. I had a wee exchange with him on Twitter. But I think you're right. I mean, I think he has shown that he's improving. I think this season has just been it's been really enjoyable. You know, he's got us to the group stages of the Europa League on both occasions. He's reached his first cup final. That, to me, there are obvious signs of improvement. What about yourself, Christine? How are you feeling, Stevie G, as 50 games in?
I would agree with what Ross said, just about his whole attitude and his management style and various things like that. I think in an interview that I was reading recently, he did say that he was aware last season that he really didn't have the strength and depth of his squads to change things around when they weren't working. I think he's made sure with his recruitment over the summer that he now has that kind of strength and depth in his squad. And I think his record this season is, well, I was going to say second to none. He did make a huge blunder with the Celtic game and the team selection in that one. But other than that, he's been pretty spot on most of the season.
I mean, in terms of the Celtic game, that's maybe something. The point I'm trying to say here is he's learning. So I think last season. I think you're right. He didn't have the squad, the same players available to him now. I think he's got a far sort of stronger squad, and there's more depth to it. So he's got more options, especially in the middle of the park. You know what I mean? And that's the sort of engine of the team. I think he learned for that mistake against Celtic. I think he knew, and I think he pretty much held his hand up straight away and said, "I've got that wrong." You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing that gives me encouragement about Steven Gerrard this season. Last season, there was times when he probably around about this point of the season, the Aberdeen game, the semi-final against Aberdeen, I really started to think, "Oh, has this been a good appointment?" You know what I mean? Because it was a really lacklustre performance. We picked it up, in the second half of the season and made a semi-fist of it. I think he's got his recruitment right in the summer. And this season, Celtic game aside, I don't think he can be anything but impressed with him. So, yeah, 50 games in, I think Stevie G is doing very well. And the next obvious step is obviously a trophy, and hopefully that'll come early in December. Guys, so I think we'll wrap up there. I'm going to have a wee look at some of the comments here on YouTube. The Glasgow Rangers thing has provoked a bit of comment. Chick Sharp saying in the early days of our history, Govan wasn't part of Glasgow. I think it was, Chick. I know Govan wasn't always part of Glasgow. It used to be a borough in its own right. But I think by the time Rangers got there, it had been taken in by Glasgow. But keep your comments coming. Having a wee look at some of the stuff there. It's pretty good. Guys, right on to Porto now. I don't know how you feel, but I was buzzing when I finished work on Thursday. Absolutely buzzing to go to the game. Great night. Great win. Puts us in a really, really good place. Really glad. I know I've said it before. I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm so glad that these nights are back at Ibrox. So there was a time when I feared that they wouldn't come back, and I've done a wee blog about it over the weekend there, so check that out if you can. There was a time when I worried that those nights are gone. You know what I mean? That this stuff isn't coming back. So great that it is back, and a really, really nervy performance at times, but a great result. Ross, come to you hearing this. Your thoughts on the overall performance?
My thoughts on the performance are slightly different to my thoughts on the result. I think the result was historic. I think the result has been slightly overshadowed in the media who want to lap up Celtic's result earlier in the day. But our result, I think, considering the status, the stature of a club like Porto, to take 4 points off them in 2 meetings is historic for a club from Scotland.
Well, considering they were in the quarterfinals of the Champions League last season.
Exactly, and if you look at the kind of FIFA club rankings, they're a monumental club. They are a true giant of European football. The performance was okay. I think some things worked, some things didn't work. Maybe that says, maybe that makes the result even more impressive. The fact that we weren't at our best. I don't think anyone's going to argue, particularly the first 30, 35 minutes. We certainly weren't the best footballing side that we've been this season. And yet, neither were Porto. So we did what we had to do. A phenomenal 5-minute spell in the second half, which was utterly euphoric. And it's a really, really special night, and it's one that I think I remember doing a podcast last season on the Sunday just after we'd beaten Rapid Vienna at home in the Europa League, and I was saying, this is a special time, this is a special week for us, that's going to live long in the memory. This blows that out of the water. It really does. To beat Porto 2-0 at home it's magnificent.
I'd agree, and I kind of got that with the Feyenoord game again. I thought, when they came to Ibrox, I was like, well, this is a proper European club. They've won the European Cup in the past. I think they've won a UEFA Cup as well. So you're looking, saying, well, this is a club with pedigree. You beat them 1-0, you're thinking, that's great. This is us. We're getting back to where we were. But Porto, I don't think they're quite the side that they were last season. And I kind of got the impression from the game over in Portugal with the amount of Porto fans that turned up that they're kind of looking down their noses a wee bit at the Europa League as a competition. But for us, it's absolutely fantastic to beat a team like Porto. And it was one of those when I got home on Thursday night, I watched the game all over again. I think I got to my bed at the back of one or something like that. I was just so buzzing and so excited. Christine, coming to you, as Ross said there, we started a bit nervy. And even although Porto weren't really threatening us, they looked the more composed side. They were using possession a lot better. They were pressing us quite a lot and forcing us to give the ball away, unforced errors and all that kind of thing. Were you worried at any point? And obviously there was a Glenn Kamara goal line clearance where I was sitting. I'm in the Govan Rear. That looked like it went in. It looked to me like that was over the line. Were you a wee bit worried at that stage? You start to think, oh, this isn't going to go our way?
Well, I have to be honest, midway through the first half, I was thinking I'll take 0-0 right now, because you're thinking if it had to go head to head, we would, because we scored over there, we would be above Porto. Yeah. So that was my kind of thinking. But as you say, as Ross said about the few minutes, it was just absolutely incredible. And again, even when we were 2-0 up, a wee bit like today, I never felt as if they were ever going to come back into it. We really got the bit between our teeth and thought, right, this is our game. You're not going to get a goal, and to get a clean sheet against them was really fabulous, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think the one thing about Glenn Kamara's goal clearance is I think Ross is the only one that's on the show tonight that could get his leg high enough to make that clearance. That was the thing that got me. I just thought, oh my God, how did he get that off the line? And I thought it was over. I must admit, I thought it was over. And I think to sort of recover for that, because at half time, you're kind of looking for a reaction. We've been a wee bit sluggish, a wee bit poor. Didn't really get it. I didn't think. I thought the turning point was when Barker came off and Arfield came on. And I know that'll irritate Ross to the max, but I think that's when things started to sort of change a wee bit. Would you agree with that, Ross?
Maybe. No, he did have an impact on the game. He did. Maybe that was because Barker was poor. But he did. He did have a good impact on the game. Whether I can get my leg as high as Glenn Kamara, I don't know. That takes about 6 weeks of stretching, I think.
Come on. How old are you?
I've just turned 28.
Oh,
I know, it's all downhill now.
Right? It is, aye. You'll be a Rangers star soon.
I certainly will not. How about you?
You should be aspiring to turn out like me.
No.
No, okay, fair enough. Right, back to the job in hand. Christine, the goal, Morelos' goal. I mean, what more can you say about it? I thought Tav done really well. He sort of dug in, got the ball out to Jack. Jack, again, a sign of a player that's improving a lot. Rather than just swing it in, he had a look and saw that Morelos was free. But what Morelos does, the way he lets the ball go across his body, the touch. I saw someone through the week describing it as the touch of a painter. which I would agree with, to set himself up and then the finish. It was just a magical moment.
It was a world-class goal, I reckon. I mean, I don't think there'd been much better in the whole Europa League on Thursday night than that goal, because it was just, and you knew as soon as they hit it that it was going straight into the back of the net. It really was a magnificent goal, and I just love Morelos when he scores. Although he looked a bit angry.
He did look a bit angry. He looked a bit pissed off, didn't he?
I wasn't sure what.
I don't know if it's because there was an incident just before the goal. Ryan Jack tried to put him through. Literally seconds before it, Ryan Jack tried to put him through, and the defender sort of cut it out. Ryan Jack kind of undercooked his pass a wee bit, and he had a go at Jack then. And I don't know if it was just a continuation of that. He was still quite angry that he never got the initial ball. But he did. I thought that as well when I watched the replay when I got home. I thought he looked a wee bit pissed off.
He looked angry with the fans, though. I thought his face was. But we'll let him off with that one.
Aye, and how many Dembele dollars do you think he's worth now?
Oh, he's priceless.
Yeah, he has to us. Yeah. He's certainly getting that way. I mean, you must be looking at serious money, then. You know what I mean? You must be.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think, well, if Kev, what's his name? Not Kevin Tierney, Kieran Tierney. Can go for 25 million quids. What the hell must Morelos be worth?
And Morelos doesn't have the hip of an 85-year-old man, you know, whereas Kieran Tierney has, you know. Ross, coming back to you, the second goal, it was only like 3 or 4 minutes after Morelos got the first. Wee bit lucky, wee bit of deflection. Good build-up, Morelos involved again. Great stuff. Stephen Davis, as I said, gets a deflection, 2-0. It was Davis's 250th appearance for the club on the night, and it felt like a good moment for him to get that goal, and it kind of reinforced just how good a signing he's been for Rangers since he came back. I know he took a wee while to get up and running when he initially signed in January, and I don't think he played a lot of football, and that showed. But you know, now he's got a pre-season under his belt, he just looks different gravy. You know what I mean? He just looks like the best man on the park most weeks, I think.
Oh, he's been magnificent. And actually, if it weren't for the red hot form of Ryan Jack, I would say that he's been our best midfielder this season. And you're right, he's a different player to who he was since he came back in January. But I was delighted for him to get the goal. You can see how much it meant to him. Obviously, he's spoken and since the game about how much it's meant to him. He never scored a huge number of goals when he was here the first time round, but he did what he had to do. It was great work from Morelos. And actually, it was a kind of goal that shows that Morelos, to me, is the complete striker. He's the complete forward player, because maybe 2 years ago, Alfredo Morelos would have been camped around the penalty spot because he wants to get that poacher's goal. But now you see him drifting out wide. He'll take up positions on the left and on the right and look to bring others into play. So it was a goal that kind of summed up, or it was a night that summed up Morelos. He was aggressive. He was turning players. Pepe had to go off scared of him. He scores a phenomenal world-class finish, and then he sets one up from down the byline on the left-hand side. We got a wee bit lucky, but Davis struck it with enough power, put it on target, did what he had to do. So he was lucky, but he's if you don't buy a ticket, you won't win the raffle. So I was thrilled for him, absolutely thrilled for him, because there were plenty of people questioning whether we should give him a contract after his performances in the second half of last season. I was one of those, thinking maybe he's past it, and that he certainly wouldn't be a regular. He's not just a regular now, he's pretty pivotal to the team, so much so that when he's left out the team, it's a talking point like it is tonight.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was the thing I thought straight away today when I didn't see Davis in the team. I was like, oh no. And I think that shows you, as you say, how far he's come on. You know what I mean? When he first arrived, he did look off it, and you did kind of think, as you say, oh, made a mistake and bringing him back. But I said at the time, if we signed him, we would be signing the best midfielder in the country. Ryan Jack's pushing him for that, but who cares? They're both playing for us, so I'll take the two of them. You know what I mean? Guys, looking to wrap up the Porto stuff as well. I'll quickly come to the 2 years on this. 2 games to go in the group. We need 3 points to qualify. And to add extra salt in the soup, so to speak, we go to Feyenoord next, who are now managed by Dick Advocat, so that'll be an interesting game. And then we're at home to Young Boys. I mean, Ross, I'll come to you first. Do you think we'll qualify?
I do. I really do. And I think I'm not convinced we'll get 3 points in Rotterdam. I think if we get 1 point, that could well be enough, because I think Porto are short of confidence. Their manager, I think, is now under real pressure. Looking at what their fans were saying after our result on Thursday, their manager's under real pressure. And Young Boys at home have been churning out results, so I don't know that I trust Porto to go to Switzerland and get a win. If we get a point in Rotterdam, that could well be enough to get us over the line. I don't care if we're first or if we're second. I want to get through. I really want to get through. I know it could be a distraction. Financially, it'll be brilliant, but to have Rangers back in the knockout stages of European competition, playing European football after Christmas, I think we're going to do it.
And Christine, coming to you on this, Ross has sort of slightly touched on it there, but how important would it be if we do qualify? How important in terms of the overall recovery of the club would getting to the knockout stages of the Europa League be?
Well, obviously we've just published our financial results, and that has shown that we really, really do need Europe, and probably extended runs in Europe at the moment, the way things are. So I just have this horrible nightmare scenario of all the teams being in 7 points after the 5th game and going to the last night. It just horrifies me, the thought of that. So I hope Ross is right, that we do manage to get something in Feyenoord and or Rotterdam rather, and if we could get all 3, then that would be it, wouldn't it?
Home and if we win in Rotterdam, we're home and host. Yeah, I'm with Ross though. I think that, especially now Advocat's there, I think that might be a big ask.
Yeah, it might be, Colin, but we can only hope to put on a performance. And I think Feyenoord aren't the team that they used to be. I don't think they're as good as they used to be. So let's just hope that we can do the business over there. But we've got other games before that, so let's not look too far into the future. Let's just take it one game at a time, as they say.
Yeah, I would agree. But I've got to fill an hour, Christine. So got to find content for somewhere. So I thought I would discuss it. But you're right, one game at a time. So yeah, we'll go down that road. Guys, thought we'd have a wee discussion about a couple of things I'd noticed through the week. Now, one, I'd noticed really a lot of comment on social media for supporters, a lot of anger for supporters, and I think justifiably so. And it's around the pricing for the League Cup final. Beat Hearts last Sunday, obviously get to the final, we're playing Celtic. Now, the tickets range from sort of £25 to £45. Now, for a start, I was at the semi-final last week. I was behind the goal, and my view was nothing short of atrocious. I posted it on Twitter, got lots of comments on it. You know what I mean? My ticket was, I think it was £25. I think it was £15 for my sons. So, you're looking at the best part of 40, 50 quid just to get through the door. And then I'm standing looking, I was virtually in line with the pitch. I was only maybe 3 or 4 rows for the front. In the first half, I had to watch the big screen because Rangers were shooting down to the traditional Celtic end. Couldn't really see what was happening, so I was standing watching the big screen behind me. In the second half, it wasn't quite so bad because the goal was right in front of me, and it was actually okay when they scored because the players celebrated right in front of us and all that kind of thing. So you kind of got something back in that respect. But I mean, the view overall is pretty poor, really, really poor. So Ross, in terms of the ticket, and how do you feel about the pricing of it? My first League Cup final I went to was in 1987. Now the cost of the ticket at the time was £3.50. Now, if you put it into a calculation based on inflation and all the rest of it, if we were going to get charged the same amount today, it would be about £9. So that shows you how far it's gone. Football is now charging. It's not just risen with inflation; it has went way beyond that. Are you like me? Does it feel like it's just too much now?
Is this going to turn into a rant about modern football?
Pretty much, aye.
Did you buy that first ticket with a shilling and a farthing?
Oh, I tell you this much. Your jacket is on a sugly peg, boy.
If I was to say that I don't think it's too much, are you going to make a joke about tax avoidance and living in Luxembourg for a year as well?
Well, we know that's how you afford it, but if you are going to say it's not too much, then just present me with an argument as to why it's not too much.
Well, if we are to win that match, no one's going to be complaining about paying £45 to see us beat Celtic and win the cup, win the first major trophy for a number of years, stop them winning 10 trophies in a row, stop them winning 4 trebles in a row. No one will complain about paying £45 to see that. Conversely, the Hampden experience is horrendous, right? We've all been to Hampden. I saw the picture you posted on Twitter. It's not good enough, and we all kind of, a couple of seasons ago, we all had a taste of what it could be like by going to Murrayfield when we played against Hearts, and we know that there's better alternatives out there, but the SFA are disinterested in improving fan experience because, as far as I'm told, the corporate seats and the media seats are very, very nice indeed. It's £25 to £45. Is it not kind of standard now? I mean, it's a lot of money, and of course it is. But if we are to win that match, I would give everything to watch us win any trophy again. I mean, it's such a passionate experience. If we go there and we beat Celtic, and we lift that trophy, I think the cost becomes irrelevant. Yeah,
but conversely, if supporters pay £45 and we don't win that, and I mean, I know what you're saying. I mean, I'm one of these supporters, and it comes to the same way with gigs as well. Whenever I'm going to a gig, like I've seen people offer me stupid money for tickets for gigs and for football games, and I'm just like, well, no, why would I do that? Because if I get the experience that I'm wanting to get at this thing, those memories are priceless. I wouldn't give that up for any amount of money. However, the amount of games that fans are expected to go to. So, in Rangers, you've got the added sort of cost, European games and all the rest of it. I just think, and plus the example I've given you as well, in terms of inflation, it is way above what supporters used to pay, 20, 30 years ago. I think it's getting too much. I think it's a lot to ask supporters to constantly stump up that level of money to go and support football teams.
Honestly, I'm not sure that I agree. I think 30, 35, £40 for a cup final against your biggest rivals, I think is I don't think it's unreasonable. At the same time, though, I'll accept. As we all know, I live in London, and my options are go and watch an English Championship game at QPR or at Brentford for £30, £35, or treat myself to a day at Arsenal for £110. So maybe that the economies of it all is kind of skewed for me. At the same time, we have the most incredible fan base, and you have fans who travel from Belfast every other week, with the costs incurred in that of getting the ferries over, of getting flights, of your transport, of your hotels. So yes, it is a lot of money. Of course it is, but I'm just delighted to have the opportunity to pay that money to watch us in a cup final, and we can all have a grumble and complain. Oh, it's a shocker that it's £40 and that Hampden's terrible. But I'd rather be having this debate than sitting at home and not have the opportunity to go.
What about yourself, Christine? Now, as well as all the stuff I've said before. Now, in my example, my case, I earn more than the average salary in Scotland. And my wife, she earns, in terms of her combined income, it's not huge, but it's, we've got a fairly comfortable life. But even I find that, especially because I'm taking my son now as well to these things, I do kind of grimace sometimes when I see how much these games are costing me. So I wonder for people who aren't as fortunate enough as people who, like myself, who are earning a reasonable amount of money, there's other people out there who don't earn that sort of level of income. And, and how do they afford these things? There will be supporters out there who, the minute they see the price of these things, just go, well, I'll not be going to that.
Well, I think your argument, Colin, is shot in an instant, because that game will be a sellout, and there's absolutely no doubt about it.
But the fact that it's a sellout doesn't mean, the reaction by supporters on Twitter told you. Supporters will pay it, but it's whether they're happy to pay it or not. That's surely the issue.
Yeah. But just on your comparisons, interestingly, when I first got my season ticket for Rangers in 1974.
Steady. A lady never reveals her age.
I was just a baby at the time. 1974-75, the year that we actually stopped Celtic doing 10 in a row. The season ticket was £15. And that included your Scottish Cup games and your League Cup games. So I'm now paying over £700. So it's incredible, isn't it? How it's gone up like that. I know exactly what you're saying about Hampden. In fact, I was sorely tempted to leave at half time, because I was in the North Stand, so I paid £30 for it. We're about maybe, I think, row H or something like that. And there's this wee, sign goes up that, it's, you're not allowed to stand up. Well, I mean, absolutely every single person was standing up. And
yeah, that was the same where I was as well, yeah.
My poor back just can't stand for 90 minutes. So quite often I sat down and watched it on the screens. Usually if it was, Hearts were attacking, I would just sit down and watch it in the screens, and then when we started attacking, I'd stand up again. But it's a horrible, horrible stadium. It really is. And I don't even know whether I reckon I probably won't get a ticket for the final, because I got one for the semi-final. And you know what, I don't think, although I would love to be there if we won, I don't think it would bother me too much not getting a ticket, because it's just it spoils the game for me, just not being able to see it properly. In terms of the price, you pay over 50 now for an Old Firm game at both Ibrox and Celtic Park. So if you look at it from that perspective, okay, when you're going to Ibrox, you're getting a much better seat and things like that in view. But I don't think it's overly priced for what it is. It's just where it is that, to me, is the issue.
No, well, we'll need to agree to disagree. I think the price of football in this country in general, obviously it's not at the sort of levels that Ross spoke about, down in London and in the Premiership and all that kind of thing, where it is extortionate, it is through the roof. But I still think £45 for a ticket is taking a piss, actually, if I'm being honest, especially when you add the fact that it's at Hampden and the views in many parts of the ground are anything but perfect. But people will pay it, you're right. And as much as I'm moaning about it, I'm hoping I'm successful in the ballot, because I would like to be there. But I do think it's something that supporters need to look at. They need to look at, are the prices fair and proportionate and all that kind of a thing. But anyway, I've had my rant about that. Quick one on Stevie G, guys. You might have seen he was linked with Arsenal through the week. I'll quickly come to you, Christine. I don't want to give it the whole he loves Rangers and all that kind of thing, the way our neighbours over the road went about Brendan Rodgers, but I get the impression that Steven Gerrard finishes something when he starts it. And unless it's Liverpool, I can't see him leaving before his contract ends. I don't think he'll be there beyond his contract. I think he'll do his 4 years and then that'll be him, but I can't see him going away from Rangers for a club like Arsenal. Yourself?
No, I can't see it either. I think you're right in terms of they want to finish the job that he started. I've always been of the view that we've really just got him on loan for a few years because we all know what his first love is. And I think he would be tempted if the Liverpool job came up. I don't think there's any question of that. And I don't think we could really expect him to turn that down. But I don't think he'll go to Arsenal, no. Definitely not.
What about yourself, Ross? Is this just paper talk?
I think it's nonsense. I can't see it happening. Not to Arsenal. I agree with the pair of you. Gerrard's career was marked for his longevity at Liverpool. He's one of the few people in this game that displays loyalty. And he, like I said earlier, he's a consummate professional. And I think he's so ambitious, he's so determined that he will want to be the one that breaks Celtic's stranglehold on Scottish football. I do also believe that he's a footballing academic and he sees this as a key stage of his managerial education. And I think he's got the perfect place to learn his trade. So Arsenal's a basket case as well. You see what's going on at Arsenal with their captain swearing at their own fans and they're not a good side at the moment. They're not in a good place, and I think anyone would have to really, really take a long, hard look before doing that. So no, I don't have any concerns.
No, I don't think it'll happen either. I think, even when you consider his advice to Luis Suarez a few years back when Suarez wanted to move, Arsenal put in the 40 million plus £1 bid. It was Gerrard that sat Suarez down and said, Arsenal, really? Why would you go there? And I don't think his attitude will have changed. I'm not convinced that Gerrard and London are a particularly good mix either. And as I said earlier, I think he, similar to what Christine's saying, I think the plan was, I don't think it's a coincidence that Steven Gerrard's contract lasted the exact same amount of time as Jurgen Klopp's. I think the plan is for Klopp to go in 2.5, 3 years. And just at the point when Gerrard's contract's finishing up here, and then that's it, he'll go. I think he's here for the duration of his contract. Hopefully I'm not wrong, but I can't see him going. Right, guys, I think we've pretty much covered everything there. So that is all from this week's episode of the Gersnet Weekly Podcast, the independent Rangers podcast made by fans for fans, where the content is absolutely free. A big thanks to Ross and Christine for their contribution tonight. Brilliant stuff as always from them. It's the international break next week, so there is a show. I think David Wren is hosting it next week, but check on the Twitter and on the website and all that kind of stuff. You'll find out if the show's on. In the meantime, get yourself onto Gersnet and the forums at www.gersnet.co.uk. And until the next time, bye for now.